Hi everyone, my name is Leo Schumaker, your host of Leo's Running and Racing on Channel 17, TVSB. And today we're at the site of the Santa Barbara Triathlon, long and short course at the Bathhouse on Cabrillo. It's going to be a whole lot of fun on Saturday and Sunday. There'll be a festival tomorrow featuring a lot of good running equipment. But today's show will specifically be about the Santa Barbara State Street Mile in June. And we'll talk to Ashton Eaton about his feelings before the Olympics and how he got started. If you want to contact me, my email is leosrunningandracing@yahoo.com.
Let's do a welcome shot, so 3 minutes behind the start line. Thank you. On your marks.
Stay on it, Tracy!
Dog back.
Yeah. I don't doubt it.
Have fun.
Probably not here.
All right.
Yeah. Danny texted me last night. She likes the show. She'll have fun doing it. guys do that.
Rhodesian Ridgebacks, Cocker Spaniels, Poodles, Labradors, Boxers. Some big old white fuzzy thing back there. I don't know what that is, but it's huge.
Attention, dogs and owners, 1 minute. So if you want to come to the start line,
Dogs are ready.
people are blowing a whistle with a whistle. All right, dogs, are we ready?
Many of you know both Ashley and Graham have made Santa Barbara their unofficial, or I guess official, off-season home training here before the outdoor season. I was trying to think of another athlete since Steve Prefontaine that has really captured the hearts and minds of Oregon. You were born in Portland, you were raised in Bend, Oregon, you went to U of O, currently live in Eugene, of course. For those who might not be as familiar with Ashton's accomplishments, he won 5 NCAA championships for the Ducks, won the 2010 Bowerman Award, which is track and field's Heisman, the Heisman Trophy for track and field. Won 6 international gold medals, including the 2012 decathlon title in London. And recently had the world indoor heptathlon title, and of course has the world records in both. And just going through his marks of both the decathlon and heptathlon are known as sort of being the world's greatest athletes, and has a 10.2 100 meters. This is all from his world record: a 25-10 long jump, 47-7 shot put, 6-7 high jump, 45 flat 400. So these are athletes that can literally run, jump, and throw better than most people can just do one of the events. What does it mean to you to sort of take that mantle from Steve Prefontaine, or really, you know, live and breathe being an Oregon athlete? Where in Oregon, I'm saying that's the sport, and you get to live and breathe that, and we're raised there. What does that mean to you?
I didn't really realize the history that Oregon had in athletics until I went to the University of Oregon. And it's not just about the University of Oregon, it's about Oregon as a whole. And a lot of people, when I was in college and started getting good, kept asking me, what is it about Oregon that, you know, this and that with athletes? I'm thinking, what are you guys talking about? And people would keep naming off these athletes and all these accomplishments and kind of how this state that's seemingly small. I remember growing up and thinking, oh yeah, we're that state. I would describe to people where I was from, we're above California. Because everybody knows where California is, nobody knows anything about Oregon. And I grew up thinking, Oregon's not known for anything. Like, we're just here, you know, there's Washington, has Seattle, California has obviously everything, and here we are. But we have this rich history in athletics that I never really knew about. And I suppose to be part of it, it's just like in track and field. When you do something in track and field, there's people who have come before you, and then there's you, and then there's people who come after you. And so the same thing for Oregon. honored to be a part of it, and hopefully it'll continue on after I'm there. But I don't know, maybe somebody should do some really empirical research on that. Something in the water, maybe? I don't know.
Well, I know like Jeff Farrell, you had some pretty influential coaches through high school. Can you speak to that? And especially you did a number of sports, and I know one of the first things you wanted to accomplish in life was become a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. But can you speak to that and the coaches in high school that led you to do, of course, this crazy 10-event, 2-day competition?
Absolutely. So it's really, when I tell these stories, I think of how big of an impact television had on my life. Because I would see things on TV, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or like somebody running a football touchdown, or somebody doing the long jump. And as soon as I would see it, I would say, I want to do that, and I'd go outside and imitate it. And the first thing that I can remember imitating was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And it's just, there was something about the way they moved. And that's what I had always been attracted to visually, was the way that somebody moved. And I just, like the fighting and the flipping of the Ninja Turtles. But eventually I saw some other stuff, and one of those things was track and field. And it was a long jump, and I went outside and I just copied the move the guy was doing. The guy happened to be really good. It was Carl Lewis, we all know. And so that kind of segues into doing athletics in high school. The thing I was good at in high school that kind of caught the eye of coaches was the long jump. And it was because I was doing it like Carl Lewis, the running in the air type thing. And in Oregon, you just didn't see that. And they said, where did you learn that? And I said, oh, I saw this guy on TV do it. And so, sorry, I think I have something in my eye. But somehow, I've always had really good coaches, and I'm not sure why, but they were able to figure out that whatever they described, I would do exactly what they described. And so I think after years of being coached, I've realized that I vet their coaching really well. Because if I do exactly what they say, and it doesn't work, they have to go rethink what they told me to do. Because I do it. And I was lucky enough to, I think, have really good coaches who weren't so up here with maybe egos or this is the right way to do things, that they were able to figure out that, man, maybe the way I'm doing something isn't right, or know the right thing to do, if that makes sense. And so throughout my life, I've had these coaches, and it's always been kind of a really good back and forth. And essentially in high school, I was a long jumper and sprinter, and for my family, going to college was really important, but the finances weren't there. And I remember my senior year of high school, my coach, at the beginning of the season, brought me Track and Field News magazine, which is called the Bible of the sport. In the back of Track and Field News magazine, much like Jeff's coach, there was a high school section that my coach showed me, and he said, if you get top 10 in this, colleges going to a Division I college for track and field could be on the map. And I said, ooh, cool. I went through the 100-meter march, and I went through the 200-meter march, and I went through the long jump marks. And I saw the long jump march, and I thought I could get on that. Later on in the year, I ended up jumping 24 feet, 1 inch. And the next Track and Field News magazine the coach brought to practice, I was number 10 on the list. And so I was like, all right. That was cool. And so anyways, after that, the senior year of high school is coming to an end, and in about May, I'm talking to really small colleges, Division II, Division III, actually Occidental College as well, about playing football and doing track and field, because I also liked playing football. Well, I think my high school track and field coach was catching on to this, and he came out to practice one day, and he said, Ashton, I know that you want to go to college, but I think that you can go to a Division I university if you tell them that you want to be a decathlete. What do you think of that? And I said, Division I? That sounds great. What's a decathlon? And he told me what it was, and I thought that sounded fun. In practice, I would kind of jump around on days that we had rest and play around in the other events anyway, just because I liked doing them, I suppose. And he told me what it was, and I said, that sounds awesome. And so he started calling colleges, and at the time I did not know this, and telling them that, hey, I have this kid who could be a really good decathlete. I think that you should check him out. And so he was calling USC, UCLA, Boise State, University of Oregon, University of Washington, Washington State. And a lot of them would say, well, what does he hurdle? What does he pole vault? What does he do this and that? All the stuff I've never done. And he would say, well, he's never done it, but I can tell you he'll pick it up quick and this and that. And he said he just got a lot of clicks on the phone. But lucky for me, there was a meet in Oregon, and because it's close to the University of Oregon coach came there. I had no idea he was there. As a matter of fact, he was sitting right next to my mom, and she had no idea. He probably didn't even know she was my mom. But I did this long jump, and it was really not that good because I remember the meets. And he was luckily impressed enough with what he saw that they recruited me to the University of Oregon, and I started training as a decathlete.
Bree alluded to this sort of sense of curiosity and how you love learning about what other people are doing. And even yesterday, I was overhearing a conversation you had about suntan lotion, and the amount of knowledge you had about suntan lotion and the science behind it blew me away. And in the TEDx talk, there's a great TEDx event talk that he has with his mother about raising an Olympian. Of course, there's various secrets to raising an Olympian. But with this curiosity and sort of just kind of chipping away at knowledge, and I think you also said this in another article about how your whole thing, whether it's thinking about what you're going to do next after track and field or on the track and learning a particular event, it's all about chipping away at that knowledge. Where'd you get that from? What does that mean to you to chip away at something and just gain that kind of ultimate knowledge of something?
I'm not quite sure where it came from, but I do know a story that best describes it. When I was young, I think I was 8, I vividly remember going outside, like I kind of always did. It must have been the summer when I wasn't in school, and I would just kind of go outside and do whatever. I don't even know what I was doing. But this particular day, I grabbed 2 sticks, and I set one stick down on the ground, and I walked like a few paces away, and I set the other stick down on the ground. And I ran, and I jumped from behind the first stick and cleared the second stick. And wherever that mark in the sand was, that's where I would move that furthest stick. And I did this for hours. Like I just kept trying. I would run, jump, clear it. Okay, wherever I landed, I'd move that there. Run, jump, try to clear it. And obviously there was times when I would just like land on the stick or wouldn't clear it, but I tried again so I could move that stick a little bit further. And so, as far as I can tell, it had always been innate. Because I remember that story for just that day so well, and I don't know why I would do something like that. But it seems as if I just carry that through to everything. When I was younger, I would get asked this question, and it was funny because I looked back on articles somehow I found of things I had said when I was in high school, and if I jump 27 feet 1 inch, if I jump 27 feet 1 inch again, it just feels really unsatisfactory. It's all about 27 feet 2 inches after that, and it just makes no sense why I would do 27 feet 1 inch again. And so if you can kind of like extrapolate that to pretty much everything.
Suntan lotion?
Pretty much, yeah. No, I don't know. And it's just, maybe it's this idea of constantly moving. I feel like if I do the same thing, then it's just kind of some sort of stagnation.
So to be fair, let's end on with your relationship with Bree. I also read that she's forced you to make you go out on dates every once in a while.
Yeah, we tend to stove up at home.
What does it mean to you now to come full circle with Bree and potentially, of course, you have to go through the Olympic trials still in the U.S. What does it mean to you to go back to Rio with Bree and potentially compete and medal together?
Man. It's, I suppose it'll be both awesome and difficult at the same time, because I think for pretty much our entire lives, all we've done is sports. And track and field has brought us to meet people like you, be it things like this, and It's been like the main framework and source of all of our interactions and networking, goods and bads, just everything. And so to kind of remember where that started, and then to go back again, might be a little strange, and also for a lot of reasons, like, wow, that much time can pass that quickly, because it just kind of seems like yesterday, but also just thinking about every single thing that got us, that we did from that time till now. It's just, it's kind of hard to take in, I think, but it's also very special. Because again, like I said, it is part of our lives, and I think that makes it very special. To get to that point, we were individuals, and then now we've been doing this parallel journey, and I think that has been one of the most awesome times of my life, for sure.
Cool. Well, good luck, and thank you for your time.
We're talking to Joe Coito about the Santa Barbara Triathlons happening on Saturday and Sunday. Joe, how many people are going to show up?
We have, for the Saturday and Sunday events, we have approximately 1,700 athletes this year. And that's split between the long course on Saturday, which will be about 900, and then 2 back-to-back sprint courses on Sunday, which is approximately 800 participants.
And how about Friday? There's going to be a whole bunch of people signing up or picking up their packets and getting more information about the race. And there'll be exhibits here, right?
There will. We have a number of vendors and sponsors who are partnering with our event who will be showing their wares and providing services out here for people that participate and spectators. Friday's packet pickup between 11:30 and 6, so the athletes come into town or come from town and they pick up their information, things they need for the event, and about 75% of them do that. There are some late registrations that might be accepted. Online registration for the event has closed, but we may take a few late stragglers on Friday, no race day entries. You can find the results for the race on our website at www.santabarbaratriathlon.com.
How many years have you been doing this, Joe?
This is my 22nd year directing the Santa Barbara Triathlon.
How'd you get the idea to be a director of it?
Well, like most things in life, I fell into it. Didn't really have a plan to be an event director, but I had a friend that was putting the race on back in the early 80s. It was actually started by the city of Santa Barbara in 1981, one of the longest running triathlons in the country, if not the world. Ironman started a few years before that. And I volunteered. I started out as a volunteer in 1995 and 94. And the friend of mine who was directing the event at that time moved out of town, so I took it over. And I don't do this by myself. We've developed a team of about 20 of us, most of whom have been with me for over 10 years. So it takes a village, and it's a lot of work, a lot of fun, very rewarding. It's inspirational to see all the people come out here and accomplish what some of them and many of them thought that they never could. So it's a special weekend, really great community event.
So Joel, can people follow their racers here on Twitter or Facebook?
We don't have that technology to follow them on Twitter yet. We're hoping to be able to do that. This is a grassroots event, so some of those fancy technological issues that Ironman can overcome, we're still working on. We have chip timing, so we do have results posted early, and they'll be there the day of the event. So you can go online again and look at the split times, see how fast people swim, run, and bike, see how fast their transition times are. So it's possible to follow them, but not during the event.
Thank you so much, Joe, for coming on Leo's Running and Racing and talking about the Santa Barbara Triathlon, and good luck.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.